Jeff Sutherlin Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey everybody, this is Jeff Sutherlin and Bella Loomis, and we are here on the Jeff Sutherlin Show, and this is one of our very first episodes. And we're real estate agents in Arizona, and we're doing this for a lot of reasons. The real reason we're doing it is because we want to help people with inspiration. We want to bring people onto this program that are amazing leaders. Both Bella and I believe in leadership. You're going to get to know her in a minute. But we really believe that this world needs great leaders. And this is what this show is going to be about. It's going to be about leaders coming onto this show, sharing their stories. And then a lot of these leaders will be in the real estate context, but not all of them. And, you know, our conversations may flow to wild things that you might be like, oh my goodness, that was a key nugget. Because every single episode, we're going to try to give something that you can take away, that you can make a difference in your life. And I've been doing this business for almost a quarter of a century, and I've come across a lot of different things. So I'm going to briefly give a little bit about my background, and then we're going to shift over to Bella, who's my business partner. By the way, say hi, Bella.
Hello, everyone. So excited to be here.
Bella's amazing. I love working with Bella. She's young. She's very talented. She's very intelligent. Master's degree in psychology. A degree from ASU, and even though I'm a U of A grad, we get along just great. So a little bit about me, my friends, Jeff Sutherlin, and I've been doing the real estate business for about 24 years, and I'm excited because it's been a journey, and this journey has led me to this point where I've always wanted to share my story and all the different stories I've had over my career, and then bring on top talent into this podcast. I started off way back working as a supply chain manager at Intel Corporation. And it was a great company, and it was a great journey. And I got to travel the world as a corporate person. And after 7 years at Intel, and I worked around a lot of engineers. And I just kind of wanted to be around people that wanted to be a little more conversational, a little less analytical. I wanted to go out and try to make a difference outside of the confines of a corporate structure, outside of a cubicle. So after 7 years, I took a voluntary separation package from Intel, and this is way back in 2002. I got my real estate license in 2001. So I left a great company, a Fortune 500 company, and the next week I was in an interview at KB Home, and 30 people around a broker panel, and they were all interviewing us, and they asked every one of us to stand up and tell us why they should hire us. So I stood up and I said, well, last week I quit a Fortune 500 company, and I guarantee you in a year from now, I'm going to be your number one agent. And everybody laughed. They're like, what in the heck? This guy, he actually said that? I'm like, I couldn't even believe I said it. And a year later, I was looking at the leaderboard and I was number one. And that was the beginning of my real estate journey. And so almost a quarter of a century later, I'm sitting here in front of you, and I have hundreds of stories to tell you, but that's how I got it started, selling new homes. And then in 2004, I transitioned over to Keller Williams, which was a great experience. I was able to be a team leader / CEO of a market center. That's what they call them in the Keller Williams system. And I got to work on helping agents, coaching them, training them, producing, holding people accountable, also working with the broker staff, compliance, supervised thousands of transactions while I also produced my own. So it was a great experience. Stayed there for 4 years. And then in 2008, I started to believe, you know what, it's time for me to start my own company. And I did in 2009. For those of you that were around in 2009 in real estate, it was a very difficult year. It was a horrible financial year in our country. Banks collapsed, and we decided to start a company. And it was probably one of the best times, because if you can start a company in 2009 or a bad financial season and you can make it in any market. So we quickly took on a lot of agents. We had a great reputation. And for 6 years, I was the president of that company, an associate broker of that company. So my partner and I did a wonderful job growing that company. And then after 6 years, we decided to go our own ways. I sold my shares in the company. And have you ever done something that you've put your heart and soul in, and then all of a sudden it's gone? Well, that was one of the low points in my career, where I felt like I was at the top of my game, to be honest with you. And then I no longer was a part of that. And I realized that was part of my identity. I was literally making that company my identity. So then at that point, I literally went into a deep depression, and to the point where I didn't even want to get out of bed. So finally, my wife had to kick my butt and basically say, it's time to start moving again. And that took a while, several months, as I had to really think about my journey and, what am I going to do? Because I've always done the same thing. I've built real estate agents' careers. I've built companies. I've developed companies. So then I finally decided, okay, it's time to get back in the saddle again. So I started coaching agents. I started coaching business owners of real estate companies. And I actually was asked to be a director of operations for a title company. I was like, you know what? I've done corporate before. I understand title and escrow. And this was a good opportunity for me to get involved with a boutique company in Phoenix. And it was fun for a while, but then I grew very tired of going to the same agents that I used to coach and ask them for business. I just didn't like it. I wasn't on the front end of the deal. It was more on the back end of the transaction. And I just didn't feel alive. I was kind of slowly losing my soul. And in fact, I was starting to feel like a fading winner. So then I was courted by a company called eXp Realty. And I started to look at that company for about a year. I ended up joining that company in 2018. And 2018 was the beginning of my career at this company that I'm currently in. 6 years later, I started off great. I decided to get back into the transaction again because I didn't want to be a fraud. I didn't want to be teaching other people about real estate when I had not been in the transaction for a while. So I volunteered to be a mentor. I felt like if I mentor people, this is going to force me to learn it. And I got back involved and did a lot of transactions, and it made me it basically sharpened my sword. So I was really getting up ahead of steam, right? And we're heading into 2020, and then 2020 happened. And you guys all know what happened in 20. I don't know anybody that had a good year in 2020. That affected all of us. And one thing you'll learn from me is I am what's called a bivocational pastor. So that means I work as a pastor part-time, typically on Thursdays. And I work with a lot of the elderly in my church. So that year in 2020 and trickling into 2021, I literally buried 12 people. And during that time, I also buried my dad. And my dad was one of those cases that was in the hospital, and he had cancer, throat cancer from being in Vietnam. He had Agent Orange induced. It caused him to have cancer. And I couldn't go see him in the hospital. And I was one of those people that had to communicate with my dad over FaceTime in the hospital. And I lost my dad after he was declared that he had COVID 3 days later. The only time I could go see him when he was not conscious. And so this was 2020. This is after a couple of years of me getting my sea legs back again. I was excited about my career again. I was getting my confidence back. And then 2020 happened. And then I think I went into even more of a deep depression than the first time. It was another time getting knocked down. And this one lasted a while. And somebody in my the organization that I'm in, reached down to me and said, "You need a coach." And that coach came into my life. And it took about a year and a half before I really dug out of that hole emotionally. to the point one day when I remember I was sobbing in front of my coach for a good half an hour when I just let it all out. All the anger I had, all the stubbornness I had. I was angry at a lot of things after COVID, guys. I don't know if you've experienced that. I was angry at the government. I was angry at hospitals. I was angry at doctors. I was even angry at God. And it was a rough time in my life. But it took just a few people to reach down and say, you know what? We're not going to let you stay there, Jeff. We're not going to let you stay there. And now I'm back, got an organization of almost 200 people, pouring into the people that I love every day that are not just my business associates, but my friends, and I am just alive. I feel alive again. And so that's why I believe I wasn't ready to do this podcast a few years ago, but now I am. And I have this young lady who's willing to do it with me, and she's on my real estate team. We sell a lot of real estate here in Phoenix, but this is really about helping people grow. Whether you're a buyer, seller, or real estate agent or leader, we want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're not going to give you BS. We're going to give it to you straight, and all the warts and everything that we've experienced, and it's going to be real. So I'm just grateful you're here. And enough about me. I want to hand it over to my business partner, Bella. And Bella, tell us a little bit about yourself as we get this thing going.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. First off, your story is just so inspirational and just so real. You go through things, and that's what makes life beautiful, and just your story. So thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Bella.
Yeah. About me, where do I start? So I played softball kind of growing up since I was 8 years old, and then got a scholarship to play at Arizona State University, which is a big part of my journey, I'd say, just kind of made me who I am today. And it's very competitive, very fun, at a very high level. And I played there for 5 years. So had a ton of experience. I learned just so many things. I can go on and on, but just things that I take into my everyday life, like how to deal with failure, how to deal with pressure, discipline. So just so many different things. And it was my junior year where I was struggling a little bit on the field, kind of lost myself, kind of was putting softball as my identity. And I had one coach on the staff who really leaned into that and saw that in me. And we worked on it, and we worked on my mindset, which was something I never even knew you could work on. And that's what led me to getting my master's in psychology, which is another big part of my journey, and led me to meeting. I've met you forever ago. I played softball with Micah, loved that time. But I, was leaning into different career options, and I met you and talked with you. And that's what kind of led me to where I am today of this career. And just working with you has been just so amazing. You're really a great leader for me, and I love that.
Oh, thank you, Bella. Well, the reason why I asked Bella to work with me is I've seen her on the field as a leader, and I've seen her lead her peers. And I know what it takes to reach the level of success, to be at any kind of Division I level in any sport. It takes tremendous commitment and suffering, to be quite honest with you. Suffering, I'm sure, physically, because I knew you were battling a lot of injuries along the way, stuff that was chronically ailing you, and you kept on fighting, And so, when you look at your journey, especially like at the top of your game, because she went to the World Series in Oklahoma City one year as a freshman. Well, how does that translate into your day-to-day work here in real estate?
Again, so many different ways. I think one of the biggest things I learned from playing softball and how I think about it every single day in my life now, and personal and career, is the power of choice. You have the ability to wake up every single day and choose what you want to work on, how you are going to get successful, and the path you want to take towards your goal. You have the ability to choose that. And that comes with a lot of discipline, comes with a lot of self-talk. You experience, and I experience, self-doubt a lot. We're human, and just kind of navigating that and realizing that you don't have to choose those negative thoughts to guide you in the right direction or wrong direction. You can choose to focus on productive thoughts. You have the ability to choose, your actions and control what you can control. So I think those are the biggest things I've taken into my everyday life, is just, it's you versus you, especially in running your own business.
Wow, the power of choice. That is a great phrase. I think there's two types of people, right, in this world. There's people that own their life, that take responsibility for all things, and then those that blame everyone around them. And what I've learned is when you get to the point where you take full ownership, even if bad things happen to you, you still take ownership of it. That is ultimate freedom. Because then you don't have to blame anybody. You don't have to walk around as a victim or come from scarcity. You can come from abundance, and you know that you have the power to change your narrative, right? And that's a pretty big deal. Power of choice, and we're going to unpack that more in future episodes, because I know, because of your psychology background and the fact that you've lived it. We're gonna unpack that. That's really good. What would you say would be one of the biggest challenges? I guess one of the best things you like about this business, and then what is give me something you're working on right now.
I would say I love the fact, kind of what we were just talking about, power of choice. I love that, because you are running your own business in this career, and it's up to you to work on your goals or not. And you have the choice every day to work on the things that you want to work on. So I think that is a blessing. And it could be a curse for some, as you are, creating your own schedule, and the discipline of it. So I personally love that. It kind of takes that softball and competitive part of me into this business world. So I love that. And then also, I would say getting out of my comfort zone is a challenge for me as well. And we have had numerous conversations about that, but it's a choice, and it's something that I'm working on. So, and I am aware of that, which is the biggest thing with kind of your blind spots, is being aware of them and just working through them, taking the time to understand yourself, so you're able to trust yourself and gain that confidence and step out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very blessed that I get to be a part of your life, but I also feel blessed that I can give you feedback on how you're doing, right? And a lot of people need to really work on the ability to give honest feedback. It's really an art that I think has been lost. I think that a lot of people have a hard time taking it, and a lot of people have a hard time giving it. And I believe the missing conversation is the worst conversation in life. That's why you see marriages fail after decades. There's a lack of intimacy. There's a lack of conversation. So they gradually decline, and then suddenly they go off the cliff, and it's not because of that one event. It's because of years and years of a degradation of their intimacy and conversations. The conversation is the relationship. So if the conversation is the relationship, we have to be courageous enough to have these conversations with people we care about, and we have to be able to interrogate reality. And a lot of folks have a hard time with that. You're not doing anyone any favors by not telling them the truth. You're not helping them. Of course, you're going to do it in a loving way if you're good at it, but to not do it is to hurt somebody's growth. To have somebody in a job where they're not properly aligned with their core values and their behavioral profile, to have them doing something that's so different from what they're wired to do, is actually a hostile act. It's very difficult for somebody to succeed. So I take leadership so seriously, making sure that everybody's in the right fit and the right job. They're happy. They're feeling productive, right? And I think these are things I'm going to talk about a lot in our episodes as far as leadership. Everybody has the ability to be a leader. You can take the stuff we're going to teach in these podcasts and go straight to your job or your leadership and make a difference today. So I hope that I'm really excited to unpack some of this stuff. Bella, is there anything else you want to share in terms of what your dreams are when it comes to what people hear on this podcast? What are some of the things that you'd like people to really get out of it?
I think going off of what you said, I think leadership is about taking others with you as well. And that's exactly what you're doing that right now in your business, coaching others, and just mentoring agents and learning. You are learning as a leader as well. And I think that's so important. You are in the classroom, in the seat as well. So I think that's really amazing and you're very inspirational. So I'm really excited to just see where this goes.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Bella. You know, Abraham Lincoln, he actually slept in some of the tents, around the tents of the soldiers. He went down with the soldiers and was present. You know, if you ever get to the point when you're a leader and you're not willing to do what anyone in your workforce is doing, you need to check yourself, right? You need to get to know the people in your organization, right? The next time you see somebody that might be a janitor or something that you would that you haven't done, or something that you might think, gosh, anybody could do that, you need to go talk to them, you know, because there's value in every piece of work. There's honor in all work. Right. So it's, as a leader, you can never be too big for that. You know, you have to always remember your humble beginnings, and it's so critical. So I'm excited. I hope that you guys log on or subscribe to our YouTube page. The Jeff Sutherlin Show is on there. Our podcast is going to be on the YouTube page. We're stoked. And you wait till you see the lineup of people that we have coming. We have people that are at the top of their game. People like Holly Maybury. She's the director of operations at eXp Realty, the largest producing company in the world. We have people from other brokerages coming. We have people from other industries coming. I am going all in to invite the cream of the crop people in different industries to come to teach us. And I'm going to be a student. I'm going to ask some really good questions, and they won't be softball questions. So Bella and I are going to sign off for now, and we can't wait to see you on our next episode. Check out the playlist, by the way, on our YouTube page. You can check out a little bit about what we do on a day-to-day and how we can help you in Arizona. So for Bella and I, we're going to sign off. I hope you guys have an amazing day.